Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to World of Tanks, and today not about gameplay or a match of some sort. Today it's all about the graphics part 2. This is the big one. Actually, this is about the landscape or all the details in it, and not about the tanks, since I did those in the last video. And my first conclusion, I will get that out of the way right now, is the console versions basically look exactly the same. So here you see footage from the PS4, and here's nearly the same scene on the Xbox One. Let's go through that truck for some particle effects. And then a friendly MS-1 pops up to show us the explosion. Xbox One, PS4. So, exactly the same. If you spot any difference that I miss out, tell me. Let's go to the pictures, because I took quite a lot of screenshots at some key moments to see how the differences work out. Let's get the elephant in the room addressed here. There are no real differences between the Xbox and the PS4 version. As you can see here, the grass, the viewing range in general, the viewing range in which the details spawn, the textures, everything is pretty much identical. The tanks, we already compared those. I'm quite surprised that the spawning rate of the details is actually the same on both consoles. We've seen quite a lot of different approaches there when it comes to third-party games on the current generation consoles, but looking at those screenshots, everything is pretty much identical. Even the water looks the same, the trees the same. Here we have a close-up of the foliage. It looks a bit better on the left side for the Xbox version, but that's probably due to a different viewing angle, or just that I'm not in the same position as I was in this different videos. So let's go up here. Trees, also the same. If you can spot a difference, as I said, tell me. I don't see something. There will be quite a lot of difference here in the PC version, but we're not there yet. Texture quality on the objects, namely the rocks, the same. What I notice is over the PC version there's a lot more stuff laying around, small rocks or something, as you can see on in front of the tank there. Water splashes also look the same. You get those, and quite big ones, when you jump into the water or drive into the water. I jumped down that ridge here with the tank and got straight into the water. What you don't get compared to the PC version is water waves, dynamic ones. What you do get is sun reflection. That looks very neat. You also get a grain filter over the whole picture all the time. You only get that on the PC version, I think, when you switch on or don't switch off the death cam filter. So when you're dead, I think you have one, or at least you have a graphics filter of some sort. Yeah, let's finish that up. As you can see here on the close-up of the rock on the left side, textures look sharp, but also the same on both consoles. Same goes for the grass density. That's also something that on many third-party games there are quite a lot of differences normally. Take for example the huge drama about GTA 5 having more grass on the PS4 version. And last screenshot for that compare, the road up to the hill on the mines map, also identical on both versions. Same goes for the trees and positions. So let's jump back and we take a quick look at the next video. And what we have here is mines, this time on the PC. And the biggest difference I noticed between the versions is that the PC version aims to be sharp and crisp when it comes to the image. There's no filter over it, there seems to be no blur effects whatsoever, no fancy camera effects, and the interface is of course much smaller, leaving you way more room for you to look at and see the enemies and see the whole game happening. Of course you need a bigger interface on the TV since it's not like the PC screen right in front of you. The zoom is also not obstructed by the gun, even though I would like to have the option to do that. The water looks better, I think. The effects are better, but we will come to that in a second. And all in all, it's cleaned up, I would say. It's not as much, it's basically comparing a action type of look versus a real, well, I would say strategic look. So way more room for information and way more space to show you information that you need. So let's jump to the screenshots here. So here we are, same screenshots or same situations as before. This time on the left the Xbox and on the right the PC. Since the consoles are the same, you can replace Xbone with PS4 and then you will have the same comparison. So as I just stated, as you can see on the right side, it looks more crisp than it does on the consoles, especially when you look further in the back. The textures are sharper, the objects like this little tower there are even visible from that kind of distance. You don't have the grain filter that you can see in the sky of the console versions, and the image is a little bit brighter. So next screenshot, yeah, brighter in general. That might be a thing that you can set up in the options menu if you fiddle around with the brightness or set one of the filters, the Sapphire filter for example. Tanks, I don't have some in that screenshot, but we already compared those as well. As you can see, what I mentioned previously, the little rocks are missing. They are not there in the PC version, but the sand texture on the ground, especially behind the tank, looks more sharp than it does on the console version. That is also a trend that we will see. As you can see here on the sand, it doesn't look as three-dimensional as it looks on the console versions, probably due to the Big World engine, and I think the Unreal Engine is working behind the console versions. You have more foliage on the ground, more bushes, and also another trend, the objects are different. So if you look at the bush on the console version, you've seen that one before, and it looks completely different on the PC version. So sharper, you can almost see the leaves and branches in there, but it also has a different shape. Same goes for the trees. If you look at that example here, you have the bush on the left, the tree on the right, and it looks completely different. Different model, so they may use the same layout. They might have developed from the same map to begin with, but it looks completely different in the end. Same goes for the rocks. Sharper textures there. We will see that in the next screenshot somewhere. A little bit more polygon details, I think. But overall, besides from the sharpness, it doesn't look that much better. Interesting, you can see in the background the border of the map. While on the PC, you can even see the base. One more thing to mention, I play on a higher viewing arc than I do on the console version. Since you can't set it up on the console, I think I increased it from the standard 60 or 75 to 90 degrees, something like that, or maybe 80. So you will just see further to the sides on the PC. So that is something you can set up. You can also dynamically set it up. If you zoom out, you will have a wider arc of view. This kind of stuff. You cannot do that on the console version. Let's go to the next screenshot, and this is interesting. On the PC, when you splash into the water, there's nearly no splashes whatsoever. You just drive into it and there's a little bit of splashing around. But as you can already see, there is a dynamic generated wave. You can also see it here on the left side of the tank and a little bit on the right. It will also influence the lighting conditions, so you will see the waves a lot better. But when the water is not stirred up, you have less waves. It doesn't look that much in motion as it does on the console version. You will also leave a trail of water splashes that you don't have in the console version, which is interesting because that would have helped there. More foliage on the island as well, some bushes there, but that might be a design decision and not necessarily a map difference in particular or graphic difference. Here you can also see sky way brighter in general compared to the console version, but it might be that the console version plays on the dawn. That might also be. I don't think so. It just has a different kind of filter. And here's the rock, which looked similar on the PS4 and the Xbox, but on the PC you can see texture quality seems to be higher, but again the three-dimensional effect is somehow missing. Grass also seems to be more, but doesn't necessarily look better. There's also one effect missing that you don't see here. When you drive around on the console version, the grass will wipe away from your tank, like it does, for example, in WoT Underground Forces. There I've seen it first. On the PC, I think it doesn't do that yet. Or if it does, I missed it. Last screenshot for that comparison is the road up the hill on mines. You can again see the little spy tower or watchtower on the mines on the PC screenshot. There's also grass on that little thing in the middle of the road that is missing on the console version. On the other way around, the little rocks laying around everywhere, they are missing on the PC version. So there you have it. The grass is also not that precise on the console versions. All in all, interesting. I expected the console version to move ahead quite a lot over the PC version, but it seems to be quite a lot of filters that give the console version a better feel at times. And while we're talking about filters, let me show you something else. This is the hill climb on Himmelsdorf as we know it from all the thousands of matches we've been crouching up there with our tanks. You can see the castle here, you can see the sky, bright as day, no tanks today since that is just a training match of course, a little bit of grass up here, a few trees and the overview over the city and the park. But let's take a look at a version on that map on the console version. And this is the night and rain variant of Himmelsdorf on the Xbox One. In that case, yeah, it's the Xbox version, the tank is upgraded. And as you can see, you will have little lights here and they are also dynamical, so if you flip over a light, it will turn off. This is one of the training modes, and interestingly it will mark the tanks for you, so just shot it blindly because it moved up the hill. Shouldn't have. Let's skip the tank bashing there. There it goes. And look at that, the city is burning, you have fire in the night sky, you have little flares going up, the castle is burning, the raindrops are splashing against your window, and suddenly the lower texture quality is not really important anymore, and I think it just looks beautiful. I really would like to have some version of that map on the PC sometimes, because look at that, the lighting coming from the fire in there, this just looks beautiful. Look at the houses in the background. Some houses are even still lit up. Lanterns everywhere, giving dynamic lighting. When you drive through the light, you will even see the tank having a dynamic shadow. Let's see if we can find a place where that is visible. Rubble laying around, again calculated by the physics engine. On the right side here as well. No, there's no dynamic lighting. But still, it just looks really, really good. So, I also made some pictures of that. It's not really a fair compare, but I think I had to do it. Again, because it's in there and you can play it like that. So, why not do it? So, just 4 or 5. Just a few pictures of that. The hill on the right, on the PC, and on the left. And one thing I really notice is the 3-dimensionality of the cobblestones on the console version. Look at that, on the depth between these stones. That looks really great. And of course, the lighting, casting, and dynamic shadows. Here we have a view over the city, once at day and once at night. The scene going down the hill with the burning on the right side. Another overview over the city with the train station in the back. And the last shot with the differences in rubble detail laying around. Clearly the winner on that map. I actually would like to play the Xbox version on the PC way more than I like the day variant on the PC. It looks sharper, it looks, but it also looks a little bit older. That might be due to Himmelsdorf being one of the oldest maps in town. Even if it has been revamped several times, or at least a few times, it looks a little bit dated. So, guys, on the PC version, you know what to do. Get us some weather variants or war variants, and yeah, that will be fun. So, all in all, that's my comparison between the PC, Xbox One, and PS4 version of the graphics of World of Tanks. Thank you for watching. Leave me a comment, tell me what you think, and see you on the next video. Bye bye.